Okay, in this video we're going to be talking about how to organize the new Metro Start screen. So we go down here to the Start button and click, and here is our new modern Metro Start screen. Now, at the beginning here I'm going to cover some of the basics, but at the end of this video I'm going to share a couple tips that I just learned about, so be sure and watch the whole video. First of all, for just some of the basics, you can resize these. I call them, a lot of times you'll hear me call them icons. They're technically called tiles. And you can resize them. So here's the store. You can right click on that and go to resize. You can resize it to real small, like that. You can resize it to medium, which is that size. Resize it to wide, which is what I like that particular tile sized at, or you can resize it to very large, like this. Now I'm going to put it back to wide. Now, why would you want one great big like that? Well, you see this tile, how that it is, if you wait for a moment it will change. There we go. That's called live tiles. And many of these do have live tiles. I've got most of them turned off because most of the time I find them just irritating. But there are some things that you want live tiles on. For instance, this weather, these two weather apps. Here's one giving me the weather for Kansas City and one for Tucson. If I was to click the live tile off, then that information goes away. So with the live tile turned on, I can quickly see the temperature and weather conditions of these two cities. So, and same thing, there's some email programs where you can put emails on here, or notes on these screens. So there are some very good practical purposes for live tiles rather than just being entertaining. Okay, and now another thing you'll notice on this screen, you'll have these groups. Here's my first one, apps and programs and games. You can name those groups anything you want. The way you name them is you go to an open area and right click, and it says naming groups. Now you'll see in the older videos where that when they right clicked before, a big bar would come up at the bottom. Well, that has changed. So the new 8.1 now just has this naming groups, and you click on that, and then you can come up here and give this whatever name you want. And then to go back to the normal mode, you just click on a blank area. And now, how do you create a new group? Well, you just take any tile that you want in the new group and drag it in between two groups till you see that bar show up, and then let go, and now you've got a new group, and you can give this name anything you want. Okay, to make it go away, you can just click the X and go, and then click down there and then drag it back to where it wants. So you can organize these into anything you want. Now, how do we get these tiles on our Metro screen? Well, after you've installed a program, it'll be listed on your All Apps screen. To get to your All Apps screen, you click on this little down arrow, and here are all the apps and programs, both apps and programs. The new modern apps and programs are both listed here. And you can organize them. I like to keep them organized by date installed, but I think the default way when you get Windows 8.1, I think they're listed by category, or you can sort them by most used, or you can sort them by name. But I generally like to put them by date installed. That way the last program that I installed will be right up here at the top. Now, the only time that is not true is if you install a program and then you uninstall it, and then at some later date you reinstall the program again. If you reinstall it again, it will remember the original date, so it will be down here somewhere. It won't be listed at the top even if you have it sorted by date installed. So I think that's kind of a little bug they ought to fix. But in such a case, how would you find it? Well, if you know the name of the program you just installed, and you of course would, you could just start typing and it would show up. So let's say this Watch ABC program. It was up somewhere I couldn't see where it was, and I wanted to find it. I just start typing WATCH, and there it is. It pops right up the top. Then I can right click on it and click Pin to Start. And when I do, it's added right down here at the very bottom. To unpin it, I right click and unpin to start, and then it's back to so here's this little grid dice game. Let's pin it to the start. Now you've got the option to pin it to the start, which pins it to this new modern Metro screen, or pin it to the taskbar, which would be here's the start screen, and of course the taskbar is your normal desktop taskbar. That means this taskbar down here. So those are your two options. So now when you pin a new program to the screen, it always adds it to the very last part of your Metro screen. And in my case, my games is way at the beginning. Now I could drag it all the way there if I wanted to, but that's kind of a pain in the neck. A much easier way to get there would be to just drag it to the bottom of the screen, and the whole screen minimizes. Then drag it over here and point to the section, and then let go. So you can drag to the bottom, point to the section you want, and let go. Drag to the bottom, point to the section you want, and let go. And that way you can do that so quickly. Now one more tip is these different categories, can they be rearranged? Yes, they can. Now you saw how when you drag this program to the bottom, how that the whole screen minimizes. But another thing you can do, if you want to organize all these groups or change the order of these groups, go down to the very right hand corner and hold your cursor down. You see this little, in the very, very small, down at the right hand corner, you'll see this little minus sign. If you click on the minus sign, the whole Metro screen gets smaller. Then when you click on a particular group, let's click on Utilities, I can drag and drop them anywhere I want. So now I'm going to put Utilities clear at the front. And then I can click on it, and now they're at the front. Go back here to the minus sign, the very right hand corner, and I'm going to drag it back here where it was originally. I think I had it right there. And click. So you can organize. Now another way you can do that, shrinking the whole screen down, is rather than using this little minus key, you can use your control key and the mouse wheel, and that will also minimize. It'll do the same thing. So I believe that pretty well covers it. Thank you. Enjoy. Okay, on my last video on organizing the start screen, I forgot something that I want to include. So I want to make this a new video and make it part of a playlist for both. And hopefully this will play right after the first one if you click on the playlist. So let's scroll down here to where I have my registry group. And I showed you before how you can resize these tiles. I showed you how to make new groups and how to organize them. But something I forgot was that you can select more than one tile at a time. So if you hold down your control key and then left click, you'll see that little check mark. That means it's selected. Then I can click on this one, and this one. And then I can let up on my control key and right click and resize them all to small all at one time. If I want to put them back, hold down my control key, click, 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 right click, resize back to medium. And you can do the same thing. You can drag more than one. So control key, click, 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 and I can drag them to a new group right there. I can right click and then give that group a name. Or if I want to put them back, I can put them back one at a time, or I can do them by control clicking and then dragging. So, and of course you can do the same thing by dragging them to the bottom of the screen like I showed before. So if we wanted to create a new group at the very end, I could control key and click these four, then drag to the bottom of the screen. It minimizes, point to whatever area you want, and then let go. And now they're all here. If I want to put them back, control and click and drag to the bottom of the screen and point back to my registry and hold, and now they're all back to where they were. So that's it.